And this is Sister Wong, who's in charge of the maternity wing. I hope we haven't come at an inconvenient time.
Oh, no, madam. They've all had tea and settled down.
Oh, well, perhaps it's just as well, because it does get like a bear garden in here at mealtime.
I'm sorry we missed it. Aren't you, ladies?
Would you like to see the nursery?
This is my favourite part of the prison.
Oh, as you can see, they've all sometimes.
Hello. What's your name?
Charlie,
Charlie. He's a very fine boy. How old is he?
18 months, and he's a girl.
A girl? Oh, I see, Charlotte. My apologies, Charlie.
Well, shall we go and look at the kitchen?
Can I speak to you, madam?
Well, I'm busy just now.
But it's important. You said I could speak to you any time.
It'll have to wait. Sister, would you help her fill out an application?
Yes, madam.
This block's got its own clinic. It's also got its own laundry.
Yes, each woman has her own individual room, as you can see. There are no locked doors. Would you like to go along the corridor? Dr. Lindsay? Would you like to come and see the kitchen?
Yes,
along here. Thank you, sister.
In what way is it unlike what you imagined, Dr. Lindsay?
Well, I suppose one always imagines prison as in terms of the 19th century and always of men's prisons. The conditions here are very different.
In some respects, yes.
One had the feeling one was going to come across something dreadful just round the corner. What we saw seemed almost too easy.
Of course, it must be very difficult for women to adjust to prison life, knowing that day after day it's going to be the same monotonous routine in the same cramped, drab atmosphere.
Well, we have made some attempt to brighten things up.
I can see that. The only place it was really successful was in the children's block.
Yeah, well, the stress on a mother in prison is enormous, and who can judge exactly what the effect of environment is going to be on small children, even on babies?
Babies may not understand, but they're very sensitive to atmosphere. That's why we try to create an environment as much like a normal home as possible. The trouble comes later when the children get older.
Like that girl I spoke to.
Yes, like her. Would you like some
It's all right,
tea?
I'll get her. Hello, Governor's office.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes, all right, I'll tell her, thank you. Governor?
Yes?
The people from the Works Department have arrived.
Oh, heavens, I've forgotten all about it. I'm so sorry. Will you forgive me?
It's been fascinating, Mrs. Forrester. Thank you again.
Oh, there are so many points. Well, perhaps I can get in touch later.
Yes, Dr. Lindsay. Please do call me.
So that's the boyfriend?
Oh, I'd hardly say so.
Ah, but you did, as soon as you saw his name on the list. And I remember when you met him at that conference.
Yes, well, all he said was that he knew the Forresters very well at one time.
A bit more, maybe. Not that it matters. I think I've guessed most of what he told you.
Huh?
Her husband was a promising army doctor, alcoholic. Just when his career was going to come to an embarrassing end, he was killed in a shooting accident. Now, come on, Peter. Where does this chap Lindsay fit into the story?
You're a nosy beggar, aren't you?
I like to know something about the people I work with.
All right, then. Well, to gratify your natural curiosity, yes, he was an army colleague of her husband's. Together with his wife, they and the Forresters used to make up a foursome, and the Lindsays were the only close friends she had after her husband died. Lindsay's out of the army now. He's got his own practice. He's got this attachment to the Department of Environment, and he's a widower.
And the closeness carries on with Mrs. Forrester.
No, I'm not so sure. She was very surprised to see his name on the visiting list.
Yeah. If he's so interested in such a close friend, why put himself down on an official visit?
Well, I must admit that did stimulate my natural curiosity. Perhaps he is a little bit devious, our Dr. Lindsay.
He's certainly pretty sharp. You see the way he noticed Lorna Rogers?
Well, that's not very sharp. Of all the women in maternity, she's the most distressed.
You knew it had to happen, Lorna.
But I didn't believe it.
Your little girl is 18 months old.
She's just a baby. She needs
I know
me.
it seems cruel and hard to understand.
I never... You can't do it.
We have to, Lorna. It's the rule.
Take my baby away from me. Take Charlie
Now,
away.
listen to me, Lorna. Listen. This wing, this whole block was built so that sentenced mothers could have their babies with them.
She needs me.
But now she's beginning to explore, to wonder where she is.
That doesn't matter. Charlie wouldn't mind as long as she had
It does
me.
matter. When babies are very young, it's all right. But when they get to be about 18 months old, they start to notice things. They realise somehow that their mothers aren't free, that they're in prison. And this can have a very bad effect on them.
I'll behave myself, madam. I won't cause any trouble. Nobody'll have to worry about us, just me and Charlie.
You have to think of her.
Please, madam.
Lorna, we've been all through this. I have no choice. Your little girl has reached the maximum age she can stay here. She must leave Stone Park. Now, I understand from Miss Clark that you don't know where your parents are living now.
I left home when I was 16. They moved. Didn't even bother to send me a letter.
What about the father? Could he look after her?
I only met him once. Bank holiday. Anyway, what's it got to do with him? He's got no right to her. Charlie's mine. I made her. She's mine.
All right, Effie.
Oh, you mind what you tell her, Agnes? Shall I be shocked?
Go and take her on and jump you now. Some of these women have got no manners, Miss Clark.
It's all right, Effie. I know Christine.
I'll bet. And you a click like a yo-yo. I mean, we can all have unfortunate misunderstandings with the law, but that's all well, I mean.
Yes. Right, now, I've got your particulars, but I repeat, it's a little too early to start thinking about parole.
Fair enough. But it's never too early to start the board thinking about it, is it?
No, I suppose not. Now, why don't you go and help the others get ready for tea? Hello, Mrs. Spencer. I've just been having my ear bent by your compatriot.
Scot or not, I wouldn't trust her an inch.
I got the feeling that maybe she wasn't entirely reliable.
Effie Dunbar was born with sticky fingers.
She steal the hymn books out of the chapel just for keeping practice.
There you are, Liz. The governor's looking for you.
Oh, too bad. I'm just off duty.
Well, she said if you were still around, could you call in at her office for a minute?
I do have a home to go to.
Look at you. Come in. Oh, I'm glad you looked in.
Is it something urgent, Governor?
No, not urgent, but fairly important. Why, are you busy?
No, not busy, but off duty.
Heavens, is that the time? Well, it won't take long. I had an upsetting meeting with Lorna Rogers in K Block this afternoon.
I see.
She's very distressed at the thought of her baby going into care.
She just refuses to face facts. From the first day of her sentence, she's known it would happen.
I know, but this child seems to fill a vacuum for her. Now, would I be right in saying that she has few other interests?
She has no other interest. She's a drifter. A life completely without purpose. Well, she's quite personable, so she hasn't had much trouble finding jobs, but whenever she felt she wanted something, she just took it. Warnings and probation didn't stop her. Short sentences didn't stop her, so now she's doing 2 years.
IQ?
She's not subnormal. Her mind just seems completely unactivated. Nothing much gets through to her.
Until now. Now she has a child. For the first time in her life, she's aware of something outside herself. Must be very precious to her. Now, I think part of her distress is not knowing exactly when the baby has to leave. She won't come to terms until she's given a date.
Well, if that's all, it's being moved out to a foster home early next week.
And you haven't told her?
Well, it's only just been arranged.
And the person most intimately concerned isn't told.
I saw no call to distress her unnecessarily. She needn't be told until the last moment.
Is that the official procedure? May I remind you, I expect all official action here to be interpreted with humanity.
Are you accusing me of indifference, Governor?
Just the opposite, Miss Clark. You cultivate an air of professional detachment. We all do. It's part of our survival technique. But I think you delay telling Lorna. Not so much to protect her, but to put off having to see and feel responsible for her reactions. It's quite normal, but it's unfair to her. I repeat, she must be told as soon as possible.
When?
Tuesday morning.
But that's only 4 days.
We have to take foster homes when they become available.
Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. Charlie's lucky, believe me. It's a good home with other children for her to play with. She'll be quite happy there.
What about me? What about me? You're not thinking of that, are you? What's going to happen to me?
So what's he like?
Oh, well, he's rather tall. He's got grey hair.
No, what's he really like?
He doesn't know him well enough. That's the whole point. None of us do. Do you want the other half?
No. No, thanks. This is fine.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Anyway, does it matter? I mean, is it important whether Mrs. Forrester fancies him or not?
Well, yes, it could be.
Well, from what I've seen of him, I don't think Lindsay's right for him.
Well, who would be?
Well, she's so capable, so organised. I think it should be someone natural, someone a bit slapdash even, to loosen her up.
And it's all there, you know. Behind that facade, there's real warmth.
Well, she certainly keeps it damped down, on miser rate sometimes.
God, you two are incredible. I've heard of company wives being better, but as if they're passing judgment on what sort of friends she should have.
She doesn't have any, except him. That's the whole point.
Well, he's only just come back into the picture.
Are you sure you won't have the other?
No, I shouldn't have stayed for this. I've got a date.
Uh-huh. Making out you're a deserving welfare case?
Something like that, yes. Bye-bye, Beth.
Bye.
Yum, yum. When are you going to ask me to dinner? Bye-bye. Thank you for the drink.
Well, there you go, Peter.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Give it up to Liz.
Oh, thank God he's gone.
What have you got against Peter all of a sudden?
No, nothing especially.
Well, what?
Well, it's just that I never seem to see you these days. You're always working late. You never have time to talk
What have we just been doing?
about things that matter. All I get's the everyday story of Mrs. Forrester. I was pleased because you came home early for once. And then you had to go and bring Peter Mays.
He drove me home. I asked him in.
And what did you talk about? Whether or not Mrs. Forrester's gentleman friend is good enough for her. You're like a couple of nosy old maids.
Oh, come off it.
Perhaps you're jealous of the boyfriend.
All right. Perhaps I do go on about that. But I have to make a good impression. A lot of our future depends on the kind of report she makes out on me.
It needn't have. No, you were offered a choice between running your own establishment and staying on to help her settle in.
Look, we've been over this again and again. All right. So I chose to stay on. It was a calculated risk. I didn't want to run an open borstal. I thought that if I helped the department out, next time they'd offer me something better. How was I to know that?
The new governor wouldn't settle for things as they were. And now, instead of being her trusted right-hand man, you're having to prove yourself all over again. You're back to where you were 3 years ago.
Oh, for pity's sake, don't you think I know that? That's probably why I talk about her so much. Everything she says and does is important. I have to understand how her mind works.
Well, I would have thought you'd have found out by now you spend more time with her than you do with me. You're not opening another one, are you? We're just about to have supper.
3 cans of beer of an evening doesn't make me an alcoholic.
Perhaps you have to be an alcoholic to get Mrs. Forrester's sympathy.
There we are.
Oh, thank you, Tom. That was a lovely evening.
Oh, it was my pleasure, I assure you.
It's so long since I've been out to a concert and dinner afterwards. You know, I'd almost forgotten that people went out in the evening.
You must do it more often.
Yes. Will you have a brandy?
Yes, but I will pour it. Sit down.
All right.
Helen, it's a very tough job you do here. And living right on top of it, you really must get away sometimes.
I'll be able to, as soon as I have everything running the way I want it.
There we are.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
No, I must say I was most impressed today seeing you in your official capacity.
Not too forbidding, I hope.
Oh, no, far from it.
I wondered how you'd react. I must admit it helped having you there as part of a group.
Well, I wanted very much to see you again, hear about your new job.
Well, you could have called any time.
Yes, but, well, I'd left it too long, and I thought perhaps we'd got out of touch. Since Gwen died, I've been a bit solitary. It took me a long time to adjust to it. I suppose I was afraid that seeing you again would bring too much back. I should have known that you, of all people, would understand.
I miss Gwen, too. You know, it's strange. Tonight at dinner, there were times when I almost felt there were the 4 of us. Not a bad feeling. I rather liked it.
Yes. Oh, good heavens. The time. I'm keeping you up. You must be tired.
No, I've some work to do anyway.
You're not going to work now, surely?
Well, that's the price I have to pay for enjoying myself tonight.
Well, I'm very glad you did. No, you just stay there. Perhaps I could call again soon.
Please do.
Good night, Emma.
Good night.
Just sign this, will you, Lorna? The Morrisons are really very nice people. We'll look in from time to time, let you know how Charlie's getting on there.
Lorna? Lorna, are you all right? Better get your things together then.
I want Lorna to come to this wing. She spent most of her last sentence here, so at least she'll be in familiar surroundings.
Strange to think of her reacting so strongly.
Well, I'd have thought any mother would feel the same.
Oh, I didn't mean to sound callous, Governor, but you see, when Lorna was here before, she was always so listless. She gave you the feeling you could stick a pin in her and she wouldn't even blink.
Well, as I said to Miss Clark, having a baby seems to have brought her to life.
Well, it's a pity they had to be separated then. But it's the rule and we can't make exceptions.
No.
I can't give her a room on her own, I'm afraid. She'll have to share.
I was going to suggest that anyway. It'll prevent her from brooding.
Excuse me, madam. That's the work party's ready for Miss Collins.
Thank you. Would you ask Effie Dunbar to wait behind?
Oh, keep away from those beans. Chris, enough for playing with. Look, stay down this end of the garden. How many vegetables left if he keeps digging them up?
Don't you even want any biscuits? No? All right. Would you like some milk?
I'll ask her this morning then, shall I?
Do what you want.
Well, there'd be no point if you're not going to enjoy it too.
Oh, enjoy it. Come on, sweetheart, here's your milk.
Darling, it was all agreed last night. You agreed.
Well, only because if you're going to keep talking about her, I thought I'd at least like to know what she looks like.
Beth, I've got to break the ice. I've got to find some way of getting on a personal footing. Away from work.
That's just it. It won't be, will it? I mean, it'll be prison, prison, prison all evening. Come on. What else are we going to talk about?
It's important to me, Beth.
Oh, all right. I'll polish up the silver and put on a show. Come on, darling, sit up.
I've always been used to mowing my room all to myself, Miss Collins. I mean, this is a good class nick, and it's what you expect.
Well, I wouldn't ask Effie, only we're more full than usual at the moment.
Ah, it's all the teenagers and amateurs. Amateur crime's ruining this country.
You should write to your MP about it, Effie.
I would. Only most likely he's in the fiddle himself.
Well, what's it to be? Are you going to share with Lorna?
She's been in before,
Yes.
so she knows the ropes. Right, it's a deal. And you'll mind and tell the parole board I helped you out, sure you will.
Don't try it on, Effie. All I'll say is it won't go against you.
Oh, you know me, always willing to oblige.
That's right, Effie. Now, come on, back to work.
Oh, hey, Patsy, look who's back.
Oh, is that that Lorna Doon or whatever her name is that her?
No, it's Dozy Dora. That's what we used to call her.
She used to follow us around and sit with us real dozy twirl.
Oh, great, and I thought it was getting a real fly, Mick.
Well, you thought wrong, didn't you, Haggis?
Don't call me that, you wee baggy!
Well, she doesn't seem any different to me, Miss Collins. Maybe it's the shock of having a baby taken from her. It set her back. Well, we'd better have her in.
Right.
Miss Collins, are you sure that Effie Dunbar's the right person for her to share with?
There's not much choice, but keep an eye on her.
The kid who's coming to share with you, Effie's been through a bad time.
Aye, I know. Poor wee thing.
So no nonsense.
I'm sure I don't know what you wish to imply, Mrs. Spencer.
I mean, none of your tricks. I'll be watching.
I'll treat her like my own, and with kid gloves you can bank on that, miss.
Effie, this is Lorna Rogers.
Oh, come away in, my wee hen.
Now just settle in today, and you know the rules.
Have a wee sit down. There you are. Now, what bed would you like, top or bottom? Ah, well, if it's all the same to you, I'll just keep the bottom, and it's better for my back. Would you like me to help you to unpack? Oh, well, please yourself. Oh, was that the Weedians? Shame. It was rotten that they did that. Really rotten.
All right, girls, work parties.
Stay there, hen. I'll be back in 2 shakes of lamb's tail.
Stand bar, Edison, Joe. Cleaning
Miss
party.
Parsons could have a wee word.
In line, Effie. Cleaning party. Beaumont, Coleman, Davis,
Excuse me. It's my wee roommate.
What about her?
Well, if you want me to look after her, I really think I should have the day off work. Just so she'll not be in her own son, you know.
It's all right, Effie. We'll look after her. You run along.
Go on. Get in line.
Nice try, Agnes.
Get lost.
All right, girls, up we go. Come on. Quick as you can. Come on, hurry up, get us one.
Well, she's been on the wing now for 4 days. Any change?
She answers when you speak to her, and she even sits with the others sometimes, but it's as if she's sleepwalking.
What about work?
Oh, it's almost a waste of time sending her out. Even floor cleaning takes some concentration.
What about the woman she's sharing with?
Effie? Oh, she's an old chancer, but she sees Lorna as a challenge and rabbits on whether she answers back or not.
That's good.
Well, Effie's convinced that if she's seen to help Lorna, it'll be another step towards her parole.
Parole is the answer, of course. In Lorna's case, that is.
Parole? On what grounds, Governor? Compassion? That might be rather hard to justify.
Well, how do we justify the rules that apply to her now? If we can't deal humanely with mothers of young children in prison, then the rules should be changed.
I agree, Governor.
No wonder people always think of prison in terms of the 19th century.
Oh, well, that is rather a large issue.
Yes. Now we come to Christine Jones. I see she's due for release shortly.
Yes, Governor, next month.
Have you arranged for her pre-release outside visit?
Should probably ask for a day trip to Liverpool.
Have you discussed it with a prison visitor?
I will be doing this week.
Good. Any other problems on the wing?
Well, I'd like to talk about Patsy Danvers.
I have got another one. Oh, no. There's this girl, sat up in bed, holding a crucifix. Get back! Get back, she says to this werewolf. Oy vey, he says. Have I got news for you?
That's funny, that's really funny. Even Dozy nearly cracked a smile. Go on, Dozy, give us a smile.
Oh, lay off of Christine. You know she's just had the kid taken away from her.
So what? I had a kid once.
Well, you secretive beggar, you never said.
Almost forgotten about him. Poor little sod.
Where is he now?
I didn't. I was 16. They brought me these papers, you know, adoption papers. Think very carefully, they said, before you sign away your rights as a mother. Give us the pen, I said. Couldn't wait to get rid of him. It's funny, though. The way Dozy takes on. I found myself thinking about him.
Well, enough of them for a while. I don't blame you. Turn my stomach, that lot. What a fag.
No, no.
Oh, you can speak then. You know, I forget sometimes. Sharing the cell with you is like doing solitary in Berlin. you thought over what I said? Look, this is not a proposition I'd put to everybody, but I'm getting on a bit, so I've got to box clever. And you're still young, nice looking. Know what I mean? And you've got that innocent look. Nobody would ever think you'd get form. So with you doing the decoy and me doing the crafty, we could clean up a packet in the big stores. What do you say? For the love... Are you listening to me?
Yes.
I'm talking about getting organised, big money. That's what we want when we get out of here.
I got my baby.
What does that mean?
Just her and me. I'll get a job and take care of her. Just me.
You? You could have taken care of a doll in a toy shop. Look, I'm getting sick and tired of you going on about that baby. You better wise up. After this, you'll be lucky if they ever let you see it again. Gee!
But she was seen talking to you two. And then she was with you for a while, Mrs. Dunbar.
Yes, madam, only for a minute.
Now, I want to know if anything in particular upset her. What did you talk about?
Just jokes and... Oh, nothing much really, madam.
That's not true. It was me. I must have upset her.
How?
Well, I told her about me kid. You know, I was glad to be rid of him. Well, I never thought she'd take it so hard.
I see.
What about you, Effie?
Oh, I just saw her getting out that doll. Well, I mean, that's always a sign she's thinking about her wee baby. So I tried to put her mind at rest. She'll be there waiting for you, sitting up, smiling, holding up her wee arms when you get out, I said. She walked straight out the door.
Now, I want to ask you, all of you, if you want to help her, be very careful what you say to her in the next day or so.
Of course, madam.
Oh, you do go on, don't you?
Well, it intrigues me. I mean, it's not just a professional interest she's got in this girl. She really cares about her.
Well, why not?
Everything else that comes up, she's in there, deals with it, no nonsense. But this issue of the children, it's really got her going.
Really?
Do you know, it's the first time she's ever shown any personal feeling. And why? Because it's children. Because she didn't have any of her own.
You should have been a psychiatrist. I don't think this dinner's such a good idea.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just liable to spit in her eye the minute she walks through the door.
What?
And if I do manage to restrain myself, I'm going to be in agony wondering how you're going to analyse the conversation for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, not again, Beth.
Yes, exactly. We do nothing but talk about her. I really do think we should call it off.
Look, I've asked her now. There's nothing I can do about it.
Tell her I've had a stroke. I can't think why I let you talk me into it in the first place.
Oh, darling, it's not going to be like that at all. Liz Clark's coming, and Peter. He's good value when he's on form.
He'll have one eye on her and the other on our gin. We'll all be on our best behaviour, hoping nobody says anything out of place.
Oh, Liz and Peter aren't like that. They get on well with her. And if she brings Lindsay, I've asked her if she'd like to bring someone, it could be quite interesting.
Come in.
Ah, good evening, Doctor.
Governor.
I wasn't really sure I'd find you here.
Well, another 5 minutes and you wouldn't have. Please.
It's a relief to know there's at least one other on the staff. A compulsive worker.
Oh, well, I was just finishing something off. Killing time, really.
You've heard about Lorna Rogers.
Yes?
Well, what's the verdict?
Well, we've given her something to calm her. Until the effects of that wear off, we can't tell.
I see. Well, I've had an idea. Something that I think may help her. Now, it's somewhat radical, but I think it could
I'm
work.
sorry, the traffic.
Hello there.
Oh, do forgive me. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No interruptions. We're just about finished. Thank you, Doctor.
Look, Liz and I are going round the corner for a drink and a sandwich. Why don't you join us, Governor?
Another time I'd like to very much, but I've some unfinished business. I don't think it should wait. Good night.
Good night, Governor.
That was typical.
What was?
She couldn't resist that dig at me.
What dig?
The implied criticism that while she's still hard at it, I'm swanning off clock watching.
You're better look out. You're getting paranoid.
Oh, yes, you take her side, as usual.
I'm not aware of any need to take sides.
Oh, no, of course not. What a pity she couldn't join us for a drink.
Look, what is the matter? I thought you and she were working well together now.
Every so often I think I am, and just as often she cuts the ground from under me. She has to be Queen Bee. Well, that's decided me. I'm not going to that dinner party.
Oh, yes, you are. We promised Charles to help him out, and we are not going to let him down.
It's no use, madam. I can't help it. I get to thinking about Charlie and...
Yes.
She's the only thing I've ever had that's really mine, you see. And I know what you said is true. And this place isn't good for her. But I just miss her so much. It's the little things. Feeding her and bathing her and looking after her.
Yes, I know.
I'm not much of anything, really. But I do try to be a good mother. I take care.
I believe you, Lorna. And I've been thinking. Now, it isn't possible for us to let you have Charlie back here, but I've talked to the sister, and there's always need of an extra pair of hands to help out in the children's block. Would you like that?
Like it? Oh, madam.
Good.
Here, let me open your door for you, love. Thank you. You're getting in a bit of a state, aren't you? Can I show you?
Well, what do you think?
I can hardly believe it's the same girl.
Any time now, there'll be a queue of applications all wanting to work in the children's block.
I've had a few already. I've told the suitable ones that when and if a vacancy occurs, they will be considered.
I haven't been so lucky. I managed to trace Lorna's parents to where they'd moved. They were politely interested to hear they were grandparents, but they thought that looking after Charlie would prove too much of a strain.
Well, you'd better not tell her you've spoken to them. I know she wouldn't want her daughter to go and live with them.
If I'd known that, I wouldn't have wasted my time.
Well, you only had to talk to Lorna. She's made no secret of her feelings.
Perhaps not to you, Governor. I found it rather difficult to get through. If you'll excuse me.
Well, the chief will be waiting. I'd better get along and take reports.
Yes. There you are.
Thank you. Oh, see you tonight?
Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to it.
If you'll forgive me, Liz, it sounds like a touch of sour grapes.
Oh, it's just I have to work for someone who is always right.
I know exactly what you mean, but she's not infallible. No one is.
She gives a pretty good imitation. No, I just had one of those days. First Lorna's parents, and then having to tell her cellmate Effie that with her record she had no chance of parole.
Fantastic. Ah, cheer up, Haggis. Just because you didn't get your parole.
Oh, never mind. Just think, you're the only one that likes porridge.
Hang on. Christine's back. She's been out for the day.
Ow! I've been in long enough to qualify for a pre-release visit. Where to?
Oh, my last known place of residence. She went to where she's going to stay when she gets out of here. Hey, ask her where she went to after that. Go on, ask her.
Where'd you go? I got them to take me to those people that's looking after your little girl.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say?
But I saw her, and she's looking great, Lorna. And it's a nice place too, you know, ever such nice people. And they give us this photograph for me. Hey.
Oh, Oh, Christine, I can't ever thank you.
Oh, forget it. You do the same for me.
Wait, what's she done?
Oh, if you minded your own business like you mind other people's, Agnes, you'd be a millionaire.
Get.
Come on, Chris.
Look, it's my baby. Christine got it.
What's that to me? You think you're fly, don't you? Fooled everybody, eh? But not me, hen, not me.
What do you mean?
Poor wee thing. Everybody's that sorry for her. Lost her wee baby. And now it's got you the softest job in the nick. Next thing they'll be opening the big door and letting you walk out, eh? Parole. That's what you're after, isn't it?
Do you think I'll get it? Do you think they'll let me out?
Not a chance. You're in your third stretch. You'll do the maximum.
Oh, I'm not sure about this pâté.
Why, what's the matter with it?
Oh, I'm not sure. I've spent hours making it.
Oh, I told you to get it from the delicatessen. It's just as good.
Oh, thank you very much. Have you seen to the wine?
No, not yet.
I can't trust you to do anything, can I?
Just relax.
How can I? I've still got lots to do.
There we are.
Do you think I look all right?
Yes, darling, you look absolutely lovely.
What are the others wearing?
Well, how should I know? But you know it isn't Peter. They won't dress up. They know it's not supposed to be formal.
Good.
Well, don't you look smart?
Oh, I didn't want to let the side down.
I think perhaps I'd better change.
That's marvellous.
No, I think I ought to. Would you like a drink?
Only if you're having one.
No, help yourself.
Helen,
Yes?
this do tonight, it's not going to be a bit sticky, is it?
I hope not.
I mean, Mays is all right. I quite like him, but your deputy, what's his name, Radley, he seemed a bit pompous.
Well, I used to think so, but now I'm not so sure. Actually, I'm very nervous about tonight. I don't know any of them socially, and they're all old friends. I feel I shall be stepping under a microscope.
Well, I'll do my best to back you up, so long as you don't talk about prisons and reform and so on.
Oh, heavens. That's the last thing I want to talk about.
Oh, I thought it was going to be casual.
Well, I told you Charles would be wearing a suit.
Yes. Well, I dare say it all adds to my air of gay insouciance. I suppose that's rather a problematic adjective to use nowadays.
Yes. Drink.
Yes, a large one.
Yeah, make it two.
Right.
My.
Oh, it's Liz and Peter, darling.
Oh, really? I thought it was Morecambe and Wise. I haven't gone blind, you know. I'm very pleased you're here first.
Thanks for asking us.
Oh, that's a lovely dress, Liz.
Thank you.
There we are.
Thank you.
Drink, Beth?
No, I think I'll hold off for a bit.
Oh, right.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Well, I confess I've been dreading this evening.
Oh, Beth.
No, it's true.
Oh, I can imagine. I get the same feeling sometimes before our weekly progress meetings.
Well, I mean, how do you approach her? Should I curtsy?
No. A mild genuflection is all that's necessary.
What about conversation? Do I have to wait until I'm spoken to?
Beth. Well, there they are.
Peter.
Yes?
Oh, hello. Yes, thank you. Oh, good. Come on in. We're in the living room. Thank you. Here we are.
After you.
Oh, thanks. Beth, Mrs. Forrester. This is my wife, Beth.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Dr. Lindsay.
Tom, please.
Hello. I'm sorry. Will you excuse me? You've caught me a bit on the hop. I haven't even had time to change yet.
Oops.
And they've got your record. Don't kid yourself, hen. Those welfare officers and children's officers outside, they've got your name pinned up on the wall. Delinquent mother. Criminal. You just have to sneeze wrong and they'll have that baby off you for good. They wouldn't. Wouldn't they? You wait and see.
Liz. Peter?
Yes, well, if you would steer the brie in my direction, I think I might do something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Liz, a little more pork.
Oh, please, thank you.
Would anyone mind if I smoke?
No, please.
I think I'll join you.
Charles was telling me all about the children's block. Don't you think women with children should be sent to prison then?
Well, I think the majority of cases could be dealt with in special establishments.
Like open prisons?
Yes, but just 4 sentenced mothers with small children, and they needn't be separated at such an early age as they are now.
Of course, in Italy, and in some other countries, a nursing mother can't be arrested at all, nor her husband for some offences.
Oh, yeah. I saw a film once. Sophia Loren, was it? Yes, she kept getting pregnant to keep her husband out of jail.
Nice.
I rather like Italian films.
I can't see you sitting through a spaghetti western.
No, I meant To Seeker, Fellini and so on.
I've tried, but I can't get to grips with it.
Life is too short.
Peter, I'm so sorry. Would you like a
No, thanks, I don't.
Bradley?
No, not for me.
No.
I see more and more people now, instead of being sent to prison for short periods, are being given suspended sentences.
Yes.
Why is that?
Lack of space, cost.
Like hospitals. And, for instance, I should hate being faced with having to buy a house nowadays.
Aren't you concerned with so many people getting off, Mrs. Forrester?
Well, I'd like to see community work replacing short sentences. It's practical, creative, and would save the taxpayer money.
I'm all for
Do
that.
you think that could happen?
Well, for instance, we have a young girl working in K Block. Now, she could easily be helping out at a children's clinic or play school and still have her own baby with her.
She is a persistent thief. I mean, aren't we forgetting that?
The whole point is we mustn't be sentimental, surely. Having a baby doesn't necessarily change one. Any woman with children of her own knows that.
Yes.
Oh, the atmosphere's like a deep freeze there.
It's not that bad. It's a delicious meal. I've eaten far too much.
Oh, well, I suppose the only answer is to get sloshed and forget about it. Here.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey! What's this, a private party?
Thawing out.
Come on, Liz, don't leave Mrs. Forrester in there alone with them.
For you, anything.
Yes, I remember.
What the hell are you playing at?
What do you mean?
Promise me not to mention prison, you said. And every time there was a pause in you come, capital punishment, aftercare, lifers.
That's all she can talk about.
Because you won't give her a chance to get onto anything else. It's one long bloody lecture. Don't you think you've had enough of that?
No, not nearly enough.
What has got into you, Beth? She can see you resent her. Everyone can.
Well, perhaps I hadn't realised what a yes-man you've become. You give in to her. You watch to see if she agrees with you. Wait to hear what she has to say before you commit yourself.
Well, is that so surprising? She's my boss, and I happen to think that much of what she believes is right.
Oh, is that so? Or is it because you've got used to being second, or always having decisions made for you? You used to be so positive. So determined that one day things will be run your way.
It'll still happen.
I mean, what use are you to anybody? Even as a tea leaf, you're an amateur. Oh, forget it. They're laughing at you, Hen, because you don't know it, but you've kissed that baby goodbye.
Peter, have you seen these? What? No.
They're rather, I think they're rather nice. Look, that's little cove. Well, it's a place called Palukastritsa.
Do you think we should...
No, we can't.
That's the mountain.
If you hadn't met Mrs. Radley before, how have you offended her?
I don't think I have.
Excuse me. Yes, we had a little hotel just down the road. How did you get around? Is it new? No, it isn't. No, most people rent.
There you are. Can I help?
No, I was just going to put these into soup.
That's the trouble with dinner parties, isn't it? Clearing up afterwards.
Yes.
I wanted to say thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.
I'm full of admiration for you, you know. To produce a perfect meal, run a home, 2 small children. That was something I never had to cope with. We always wanted children, but we decided to wait until my husband was out of the army and we'd settle down. We left it too late. I do know how difficult an evening like this can be. I gave up my own career when my husband was posted abroad, and I suddenly found myself having to face a whole series of commanding officers with whom I had very little in common. I remember I was terrified. I was afraid if something went wrong, it would affect my husband's career. Fortunately, like you, I was lucky in the man I married. Nothing in the world could have stopped him from being a success. I want to ask you something.
Yes?
It probably sounds silly, but with everyone else being Tom and Liz and Peter, I feel such a fossil being called Mrs. Forrester. When I'm not behind a desk, my name is Helen. Do you think we could take some coffee in? Tom's dying for some.
Yes, of course.
Is everything all right?
Fine. Oh, Charles, would you get Beth to give me the recipe for that pate?
Hey, what's been going on? What have you been up to?
Nothing, darling.
I'm sorry it took so long to get warmed up.
Oh, it was worth it. I only hope we didn't stay too late.
No, not at all. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
A lot of it was to do with your wife, you know. She's absolutely delightful. Governor?
Keep the noise down.
Now tell me exactly what happened.
Lorna came to work this morning as usual. She seemed all right but quiet. Then when some of the mothers came to leave their babies in a nursery to have their morning sleep, Lorna said she'd look after them. Now she's jammed the door and she won't open it or come out.
What does she want?
To have her own baby brought here.
Lorna, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Keep away! Keep away!
Lorna, it's the governor. I've come to talk to you, so open the door.
Where's Charlie? I'm not coming out without Charlie!
If you want something, open this door. I won't talk to you until I can see you.
I'll give it a shot.
No.
Just you on your own! And no tricks!
Charlie, you think this is the right way to ask?
I can't have more baby, they can't have this.
Just last night I arranged with Miss Clark to have her brought here on a visit.
I don't believe you.
When have I lied to you?
I'll never see her again. You won't let me have her when I get out.
Couldn't be more wrong, I promise
She
you.
said Charlie would be kept away from me
Who
to
said
protect
that?
her.
It's absolutely untrue. Who said that?
Effie said it was because of my record.
You'd rather believe her than me. Just checking to see that they're all right.
You don't understand. I know nothing about it. It's all right. Don't cry. Don't cry. It's all right. It's all right.
You wouldn't have harmed them, would you? No matter what happened, you couldn't.
I just wanted Charlie.
Yes, I understand. All right, Mr. Radley, you can come in now. Very well, you may go.
We might have known that Effie would deny it.
Well, it's so easy for her to claim Lorna's just disturbed. Last night we knew there was something up, but we didn't know what. It's my fault for putting them together.
Perhaps it could have been prevented, but neither of you are to blame.
What'll happen to Lorna?
She's been sent to the hospital wing for observation.
Will she be charged?
No, I doubt it. There was no real harm done and she acted under stress. Trouble is that Dr. Mays is afraid that this could have pushed her over the edge. She might not recover for some time.
You mean even after her sentence is over, she may not be able to keep her baby?
Seems unlikely.
Thank you, Mrs. Spencer, Miss Collins. If only I'd left her alone. Not treated her with any special consideration. She might have adjusted quite normally and been out of here in a few months.
Well, it was a borderline decision. But as you said, perhaps it could have been prevented.
We'll never know for certain.